So what are your thoughts on how the elections are going right now and the impact it may have on the economy?
Well, I don't particularly want to comment on the elections. I think they are sort of going as expected. As the previous commentator said, that there could be a little bit of jitteriness about the margin with which the ruling party might win. But I don't think there is a whole lot of doubt about the probability of their winning the elections. And of course, we'll get to know soon about it. In terms of the consequences or the implications of it, I think, of course, from an economic stability standpoint, it's not a bad idea to have the same party continue, the same government continue, particularly in terms of continuity of policies and reforms. So I think that would be a net positive, and that is what the market is also looking forward to. And going by their manifesto, they do have some promising points. For example, continuing on the path of fiscal prudence, which is extremely important for macro stability. Because we do have a high fiscal deficit of close to 6% currently, and the government plans to bring it down to less than 4.5% by 25-26.
Right.
It seems that they are going to continue on that path of fiscal prudence, simplifying legislations, promoting exports. So I think there's some of the policies that we can look forward to post-elections, and it would be good to see how it all turns out.
In terms of policies that can be expected, what would you like to see in terms of priorities? What are the low-hanging reforms that the next Modi government can implement?
Well, there are two different parts to it. What is it that what I would like to see as an economist? And the second is, what do you expect the government to be implementing? I think in terms of what economists would like to see would be structural reforms, because while we have an impressive growth performance and resilient recovery from the pandemic, it is also true that we need to be able to sustain the 7-8% of growth rate for a long period of time if you want to achieve a developed economic status, which is what the government wants to achieve clearly. But for that, we need structural reforms. We need factor market reforms, land reforms, labor market reforms, financial sector reforms. All of these things have been pending for a very long time. And unless we implement these reforms, we'll not see the kind of productivity boost that is needed to be able to sustain a high growth for a long period of time. So that is what I think, as an economist, I would like to see on the table. And also boosting exports significantly, because it's a historic opportunity for India, I believe, that with a lot of companies trying to look at other alternatives from China, India could offer very well that alternative. But for that, we need to be able to implement more stable and predictable policies in order to be able to encourage those companies to come and set up shop in India so that we can benefit from the China Plus One strategy. So that is also something that I would like to see. But in terms of what the government might be looking at in terms of low-hanging reforms, as I said, simplification of economic and commercial laws is probably something that they would look at, because that would definitely improve the ease of doing business in the country. Also, maybe entering into more bilateral free trade agreements with other trading partners. That might also help exports to some extent. And as I said, remaining on the path of fiscal consolidation is again something that probably they would look at. I'm not so sure about how much they would prioritize structural reforms, because we haven't heard a whole lot of sound about that. So that's sort of the missing gap, I would say.